Welcome back into Anchorage, Alaska at Mulcahy Stadium. And tonight the Miners taking on the other Anchorage team, the Anchorage Glacier Pilots, for a quick two-game series. First pitch starting very soon tonight around 7. And tomorrow night we'll be back in Anchorage at 10 p.m. for a little possibly midnight sun action. Nevertheless, tonight the Miners come into this game 7-7, and the Pilots are 5-7. This is a matchup between the second and fourth place teams in the ABL. The Miners are with the Oilers and the only two teams in the ABL that are 500 or better. Oilers on top at 11-4. And the Miners coming off a loss the other night to the Anchorage Bucks, where they couldn't really get the bats going. Only 6 hits in 9 innings of play. Nevertheless, we'll run down 3 of your Matsu Miner starters. Leading things off is the center fielder Kona Quiggle, followed by third baseman Tyler Bozetti. In the 3 spot is left fielder Austin Pinarini. And cleaning things up today is first baseman Spencer Henson. He's followed up by catcher Aaron Walters and right fielder Danny Wright. And then in the 7, 8, 9 spots are second baseman Caleb Van Blake, designated hitter Connor Denning, and the shortstop Drew Swift. On the mound tonight for the Glacier Pilots is number 27 right-handed thrower Jed Moscott. And actually, the last time Moscott was on the mound was against the Miners 12 days ago on June 10th. Moscott comes into tonight. He's appeared in 3 games. This is his second game started. So we're underway. Moscott's first pitch misses blown away to Kona Quiggle. And Quiggle is ahead in the count, 1-0. So righty on lefty matchup to start today as Quiggle flies one out of play to the left side. Quiggle stands in. He is batting .283 so far this season. He's had a very nice production the past few games. Count tied up at 1. Quiggle lines one back to the left side. So he's now falling in the count 1-2. This is Brad Walker. Alongside me is Connor Mills tonight. And Moscott winds and delivers the 1-2. It's in the turf. Nice block there by Presno. So the Miners coming in tonight, as I said, 7-7. We're on a 3-game winning streak before that was snapped the other night by the Bucks. And the 2-2 into Quiggle is blasted into right center field. This one's got a chance, and it's one hops the wall. Quiggle sprinting around first. He's on his way to third. The relay throw in is not in time. Kona Quiggle gets this game started on a high note.
Well, that's the offense that the Miners really needed right from Kona Quiggle, right off the bat. The bats have been slowing down a little bit as we are kind of entering the beginning to middle half of the season. So Ben Taylor gave him some inspiration on the off day yesterday, and great production. Way to turn it around here.
And definitely a way to kick it off for Kona Quiggle. The big triple, his first of the season. So he'll stand in, or rather Tyler Bozetti stands in, right-hand hitting third baseman. He looks at a strike on the outside corner. So he falls in the count to 0-1. Bozetti out of the University of Nevada, Reno, and this pitch gets by Presno, and jogging in to score the first run of the ball game is Kona Quiggle. So the Miners with a very early lead, 1-0, as there hasn't even been an out recorded yet in this ball game.
And that's exactly what a leadoff man does. He gets on base, he goes around, and then on things like that, he can score on.
So now there's no one on for Bozetti as he's tied up in the count 1-1, and then flies one back out of play behind the press box. So Bozetti fall in the count 1-2. Doesn't have a chance for an RBI, but does have a chance to keep this hot start going for the Miners. And he launches one into left field. High and camped under it is Daniel after a few steps taken back for out number 1. So we'll run through the Pilots defense for you. Behind the plate, Zach Presno over at third. Aruda at short is Mumper. Second baseman playing is Knowles. And over at first is McCann. In the left field from left to right is Daniel, Foscalina, and Curtis. That's your defensive alignment for the Anchorage Glacier Pilots. And that brings up Austin Pinarini playing left field for the third time this season for the Miners. He looks at it strike on the lower half of the plate. So he's now fallen 0-1. Pinarini out of Gonzaga. And he's second pitch swinging, out of play on the left side. So Pinarini comes into tonight, one of the higher averages on the Miners team, batting .303 so far on this young season. And he dribbles one over to the right side of the infield. Knowles, the second baseman, makes the play over to first for out number 2. So 2 down here in the top of the first inning. The Miners do have a run aboard, so they currently lead it 1-0. They did not get a run in the other night's game against the Bucks until the 6th inning. And not a lot of hit production either, so very nice that the Miners can get off to this hot start as Spencer Henson stands in. Right-handed hitter at the dish, looks at a ball high from Jed Moscott. It's been 12 days since these two teams have played, as Henson lines one right up the alley. That's going to be a base hit. So Henson reaches on the 2-out base hit.
And for Henson, a unfamiliar offer in his last game. Starts off today with a single up the middle. So Henson's always been hitting since he's got here.
He actually started on a 6-game hit streak here for the Miners, so he's back onto that bandwagon. And the man behind the plate today for the Miners stands in, Aaron Walters. So another righty on lefty matchup. And the first pitch to Walters is in the turf for ball 1. Counts 1-0, 2 down, top of the first inning. Miners leading the Pilots 1-0. And the Miners with a third best batting average in the ABL currently, stands at a .231 clip. So Moscott's 1-0 is fouled over to the left side and out of play. So nice hot start so far for the Miners. Koenig-Wiggle got things started with a leadoff triple. That was an exciting way to start the road trip. The 1-1 from Moscott is a nice breaker in there for strike 2. So Aaron Walters has fallen behind in this count, 1-2 with 2 down. Moscott from the stretch, kicks and deals. He misses outside, but Walters couldn't hold back his swing in time. So he is down on strikes for out number 3 of the inning. Koenig-Wiggle, what a way to get things started for the Miners. He gets a nice leadoff triple and then comes around to score in the pass ball. So the Miners lead the Pilots 1-0. We move into the home half of the first inning here on Matsu Miners Radio. Welcome back into Mulcahy Stadium here in Anchorage, Alaska, between the Miners and the Pilots. The Miners jump on the Pilots early, scoring a run in the top half of the first inning. That brings on to the mound for the Miners, number 30 out of Arizona State, Brady Corrigan, and he'll face the Pilots order as follows. Leading things off is the third baseman, Jordan Arruda, followed by the hitting second baseman, Ryan Knowles, and catcher, Zach Presno. Cleaning things up for the Pilots is left fielder, Braden Daniel. He's followed by first baseman Aaron McCann and right fielder Elliot Curtis. The last 3 men for the Pilots are shortstop Mark Mumper, designated hitter Garrett Kosis, and in the 9th spot, center fielder Dominic Pascalina. So the Pilots look to avenge that early first run from the Miners as Jordan Arruda stands in. The league leader in average in the ABL. He looks at a ball blown away from Corrigan. So Ruda, easily probably the best hitter in this Pilots lineup, has the highest average and on-base percentage. He slaps one into left field. Pinarini won't get there in time, so it one hops before he can salvage it. And Ruda, just like the Miners, they get their leadoff man aboard. Just not in an as exciting fashion.
No, it's not. You know, does a job that a leadoff man does. Gets on base, and it's nice to see when leadoff guy is also leading the ABL in batting average.
And now Jordan Ruda, he's reached in every game he's played in, and he continues that streak tonight. So he's on first. Corrigan will work from the stretch to start this game. And his first pitch into Ryan Knowles is fouled back to the fence. Corrigan on the season he started in 2 games, has an ERA of 3.86 through 9 innings pitched. So he's been efficient. In his last outing was here in Anchorage, actually, on June 16th. He gave up 3 runs, all earned in 5 1/3 innings of work. Took him 107 pitches to do so. He was no decision in that start. So he checks over to first and now toes the rubber once again to face Ryan Knowles. Corrigan sets from the chest, kicks and fires, man on the move, but fouled off and out of play by Knowles. So he falls behind early 0-2. Nobody out, bottom of the first inning here at Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage. Miners on top of the Pilots, 1-0. So Corrigan takes a quick look over at first, and he's ready. The 0-2 just misses the outside edge for ball 1. Knowles comes into tonight. Last game, hit 2 for 4, and also reached on a walk. He stands in the left-handed hitting second baseman. Corrigan's ready for the 1-2. He throws over. Did he get him? Just not in time. First base umpire Brad Polk said he made it in time. Nice move from Brady Corrigan. Nice quick step off the rubber and throw over to first.
Well, it was a nice move, and he got Aruda stepping the wrong way. So that's what really made it a close play, and it looked like up here it was bang, bang. Brad Polk, of course, staying safe.
So the 1-2, Aruda's on the move, and Knowles fouls it off once again. That one dribbles behind the backstop. So it looked like the Pilots want a little hit and run action to begin this ball game. And when you're down early, you got to retaliate with the offense sooner rather than later. So count still at 1-2 with nobody out in the home half of the first inning. Miners leading 1-0. Corrigan kicks and delivers, and this one's hit hard on the ground over to the right side of the infield. That's going to get through to the right fielder right, who picks it up in time and throws it into the shortstop Swift. But the Pilots get their first 2 men aboard on 2 base hits. So now a runner in scoring position for the Pilots with nobody out. As catcher Zach Presno walks into the dish.
And it's really nothing to worry about for Corrigan. You know, he gave up a bloop single over into left field. This one was a ground ball, found a hole on the right side. So he's not giving up hard contact. It's just unfortunate that it's not going his way.
Yeah, and we noticed that a lot in his last start. Is not a lot of big hits, just little ones that would get through holes. He walked a few on, but then was getting out of jams. Only gave up 3 runs. That's still a winnable cause as a pitcher. So Presno is bunting over to third. Bozetti runs in to make the play for out number 1. So nice sacrifice there from Zach Presno to move the runners over.
Yeah, Bozzetti's only play was to first. You know, it's unusual to see a number 3 batter, usually your best batter in the lineup, lay down a bunt, but it's good baseball from the Pilots. Puts 2 runners in scoring position.
And now it brings up the righty on lefty matchup between Corrigan and Daniel. Daniel, the left fielder. And Daniel went off last time the Miners and Pilots met. Went 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. First pitch into Daniel. Just misses outside for ball 1. So Daniel was really the hero with those 2 ribbies in their 6-5 win over the Miners in game 2 of the doubleheader back on the 10th. So Corrigan's 1-0 misses away. Move the count to 2-0. So Bozetti playing in line with the bag at third. And Blake and Swift in default positions, and as well with Henson at first. Quiggle is the only one slightly shifted to the right in the outfield. As Daniel swings through, the first strike from Corrigan. Corrigan, the Arizona State product, well, currently at Arizona State, where he had a 5.18 ERA and a 1-6 record. So looking to redeem himself this summer. He kicks and deals the 1-2, gets Daniel swinging. So he's now moved the count to 2-2. And this would be a huge strikeout for Corrigan, as there is nobody on first, so really no chance of a ground ball double play. He takes a long look in. This is a very important pitch. The Miners currently leading 1-0. Would like to hold it scoreless. Corrigan kicks and deals. Daniel fights it off to the left side. Foul. And the count will stay at 2-2. Once again, a nice, partly sunny day here in Anchorage, Alaska, in Mulcahy Stadium. And the Miners currently leading 1-0 over the Pilots. Corrigan long look into Walters. He is ready. His 2-2 pitch. Gets Walters, lined it right back to Corrigan, who makes the catch and then tried to throw over quickly to Bozzetti. But diving back in time was Aruda. And what a play there from Corrigan. That was a hot rocket right back to him from Daniel. But quick reflexes and makes the catch for out number 2.
That was just self-defense right there. If he doesn't catch it, that hits him square right in the legs. And maybe in a place he doesn't want to get hit. Because that was a hot shot off the bat.
So another righty on lefty matchup. As Aaron McCann, the first baseman, stands in. He's swinging on the first pitch, but slicing foul over to the left side. And out of play. McCann stands in, batting .222 this season. However, has reached base many times, has a .447 on-base percentage with 9 walks. So definitely been doing a good job of working pitchers. But Corrigan ahead currently 0-1. The 0-1 is grounded over to Swift, who gets through him under the outstretched glove. So 1 comes in for the Pilots, and 2 will score. So Aaron McCann with a big 2-out, 2 RBI single to give the Pilots now the lead, 2-1 in the bottom of the first.
And again, it's not hard hit contact against Corrigan. It's just balls that are finding the hole, just out of the reach of the outstretched glove of Drew Swift at short. It's stuff like these that can drive pitchers and managers crazy because it's not hard hit.
As Corrigan now will have to still in search of this third out. Now there's a runner on first. Elliot Curtis, left-handed hitting right fielder, with the big swing and miss to bring the count to no balls, 1 strike. Miners do still have 2 outs, but now they have lost the lead. Pilots hold it 2-1. Corrigan kicks and delivers. He misses low and away for ball 1. And the Miners really haven't given up a lot of runs this season and hits. Given up the least amount of hits, only with 86 given up. As the Pilots already have 3, as Corrigan paints the outer edge for strike 2. Amongst the Pilots fans' disapproval. So Corrigan ahead in the count, 1-2, looks to set down Curtis. Corrigan's 1-2 pitch. Gets Curtis swinging as he flies it over to the left side, out of play. Curtis back on the 19th in the Pilots' last game against the Bucks, where they won. Went 0 for 2. So looking to grab a hit. He's only had 3 hits in his last 22 at-bats. So looking to turn things around. As Corrigan's 1-2 is fouled back once again over to the left side of the press box. So Curtis doing a nice job of protecting with 2 strikes. So this is the Pilots' first game in 3 days. Corrigan kicks and deals the 1-2. Just misses on the outer edge. Which is interesting because it seemed like Corrigan threw a pitch on that outer edge earlier in this at-bat, and it was a strike. This time a ball.
No slight differences in the ball. You know, the way it moves could be the difference.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Curtis fouls one out of play to the left side. Pilots 2, Miners 1, bottom of the first. A little bit of scoring to begin this ball game. And the Miners pitching has been very well, almost been carrying the Miners so far. So the 2-2 is lined right to Drew Swift at short, who goes to his knees to make out number 3. So the Pilots avenge that 1 run given up in the top half of the first inning and bring it back with 2 themselves on 3 hits. They do leave 1 stranded, however, and we move into the second inning with the Pilots now leading the Miners 2-1 on Matsu Miner Radio. Welcome back into the second inning of tonight's contest between the Miners and Pilots. The Pilots just redeemed themselves for 2 runs back in the first inning to lead this game 2-1. And that brings up Danny Wright, Van Blake, and Denning this inning. So Danny Wright stands in. He'll bat left-handed. He's the switch-hitting right fielder. And he's first pitch swinging. Bloops one into center field, and that's going to drop for a base hit. So the Miners get their leadoff men started in this game. So 2 at-bats seen for the Miners, or rather 2 innings, and 2 leadoff men aboard.
And sometimes the first pitch and at-bat you see is going to be the best pitch, and you just have to go for it.
So Caleb Van Blake will stand in just his second game as a Miner. And once again, working out of the stretch will be Jed Moscott. The right-hander deals in a strike low against the left-handed hitting Van Blake. Van Blake out of UC Davis, and where he batted .264 this past spring. As Moscott checks over at first at right. He'll dive back in time. Wright does have a stolen base on the season, so not bad speed. Moscott comes set, checks in, kicks and fires. He'll miss low, and that'll get by Presno to the right side. Wright will advance to second, where he'll hold there. So the count's now at 1 ball and 1 strike. And once again, the Miners have a runner in scoring position with nobody out. And the Pilots actually with the worst ERA in the ABL with a 4.50. And the Miners definitely looking to take advantage of that tonight, as the bats were a little chilly the other night in Anchorage, but they've started out so far pretty hot. Already 3 hits. Moscott comes set and delivers the 1-1. Van Blake bounces one over to the right side. Moscott actually ranging over to his left to make the play and then tossing to first for out number 1. So 1 out, but that does advance Danny Wright to third base as Connor Denning stands in. He's another switch hitter. He's the designated hitter tonight, and he'll just need a sacrifice or something in play to possibly bring in Danny Wright to tie this game up at 2, as they currently trail 2-1.
And, you know, Denning really hasn't seen a lot of plate appearances, but this is his chance to prove himself right now and, you know, try to get a steady position in the starting lineup.
So he'll look at a strike low to bring the count to 0-1. And Denning so far only has 3 hits this season. Last time he played was back on the 19th, where he went 0 for 1, but did reach twice on a walk and hit by pitch. So he swings through the 0-1, and he's down on the count 0-2. Danny Wright on third. He led things off this inning with a base hit. And then advanced on a pass ball. And then on Van Blake's ground out. So Moscott misses on the outside edge to move the count to 1-2. Jed Moscott, the last time the Miners saw him was actually on June 10th in his first start, where he went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, which were earned, with 7 hits and had 2 strikeouts. And he'll get Denning to swing through for strike number 3 and out number 2 of the inning. So 2 strikeouts so far for Jed Moscott. Both have been swinging. Moscott did not have a decision back on that game on the 10th. So now standing in is the shortstop, Drew Swift, who's normally been hitting at the upper half of the Miners lineup and moved today to try to switch things up and get the bats going. He looks at a ball inside. So the 1-0 count. Swift looks at it for ball 2. And really nothing personal against Swift. It's just the Miners, with the way their bats have been hot and cold game to game, you got to switch things up and hopefully find consistency. And the 2-0 swung and missed by Drew Swift. Swift coming into this game only with a 173 average, but a 254 on base percentage. And the 2-1 from Moscott misses outside and in the turf.
And Presna really just saved another run there. Great block by him, getting his whole body in front of it, turning inside, making sure he sees Danny Wright and see if he was going or not.
So hitters count to Drew Swift, who lines one into right field. That's going to drive in Danny Wright, and Swift is on a hustle as he rounds first, but he'll hold up and head back. So Drew Swift delivers as he drives in Danny Wright to tie this ball game up at 2. And that could be the hit that Drew Swift needed to start turning around this season. And that brings up Kona Quiggle. And if you remember, he led off last inning with a big triple and then ended up scoring. So he'll look to do the same. Drew Swift is on the move. They'll throw down, but the throw is off the mark. And Drew Swift counted as stolen base number 7 of the season. Swift's speed showcased tonight against the Pilots. So righty on lefty matchup between Moscott and Quiggle. Moscott will take a step off the rubber, lick his hand, feel his jersey, and then hand back on ball. So runner in scoring position for the Miners with 2 down. Moscott kicks and delivers. He misses outside. So it counts at 1 ball, 1 strike. With 2 outs. Game now tied up at 2 here in the top half of the second inning. Moscott from his waist is popped up in the air from Quiggle into right field. Curtis moves over to his right a little bit and then makes the grab for out number 3. So the Miners bounce back with 1 more run to tie this game at 2, and we'll move into the home half of the second inning here on Matsu Miners Radio. We're back in Anchorage here at Mulcahy Stadium. Miners, after grabbing another run in the top half of the second inning. We're tied at 2. But the Pilots look to change that score as they come to the plate. Their bottom 3 in the order due up, Mumper, Kosas, and Foscalina. So Mark Mumper stands in, the shortstop out of Grand Canyon. Had a nice game in the Pilots' last game. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI, and one of his hits were a triple. So Corrigan winds and delivers the first pitch of the bottom half of the second inning. That's in for a strike, as Mumper was looking to bunt but pulled back. And it was a tightly contested contest back in game 2, last time these two teams played, with the Pilots getting the better of the Miners 6-5 as Corrigan misses low and away. So Mumper, the right-handed hitting shortstop, is batting .250 so far in the season. Has came in to score 4 times as he fouls one over to the right side and out of play. So the count's at 1 ball, 2 strikes to the Pilots' leadoff hitter this inning, Mark Mumper. So winding and delivering the 1-2 is Corrigan. Once again, skied high in the air over to the right side, out of play. So we stay at a 1-2 count. And the Miners only had 6 hits, as we mentioned, a few days ago, against the Bucks, already with 4 throughout the first 2 innings. So standing in once again is Mark Mumper. Righty on righty matchup. The 1-2 pitch is fouled straight back over to the right side. Actually, almost hitting our photographer right over to our right side here at the press box.
Gave him a little bit of a scare. Yeah. He's focused on taking his pictures and, doesn't have the line of vision that you'd normally have with 2 eyes open.
Yeah, made his heart skip a beat a little bit. Nevertheless, the count is still tied up at 1-2 as we have a bit of delay. But Corrigan stands back on the rubber. His 1-2 is skied high in the air over to the right side. Moving on his right to his right and making the play is right fielder Danny Wright. What a play over there in right field. Good hustle. So for the first out of the inning is a fly out to foul territory.
Well, that was a great play from Danny Wright, and I'll tell you why. Wright moving all the way out into foul territory. He knows where the fence is, reaches over the fence to make the catch. What a play for Danny Wright.
That brings up Garrett Kosas, the designated hitter. So we move back to a righty on lefty matchup as Kosas bats left-handed, throws right-handed. He looks at a ball. Corrigan's next pitch gets Kosas to swing through to tie up the count of 1. So Kosas, this is just his 14th at-bat in a Pilot's uniform. Is 2 for 13 so far. He swings through a nice off pitch from Brady Corrigan, and Corrigan's ahead in the count 1-2. Corrigan kicks and deals. Gets Kosas to pop it up behind the press box. Keep them count 1-2. And you notice with Corrigan a lot, he likes being in the windup, much like a lot of starters do, and keeping that rhythm is what really helps him a lot. So his 1-2 to Kosas misses low. And really, rhythm in any sport is the key to being successful. And when Corrigan finds that rhythm, he's really a tough pitcher to hit. Count tied at 2. Kosas towers 1 behind home plate. Walters is looking at it, but he'll watch it go behind home plate to keep the count at 2-2. So Corrigan on the rubber. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Bottom of the second inning. Tied at 2. Kosas flies one over to the left side. So Walters is behind the plate. Bozzetti at third. Swift at short. Van Blake at second. Henson at first. Pinarini in left. Quiggle in center. And Danny Wright is on right. And the 2-2 from Corrigan is smashed out into right field. But it'll be foul. And we'll stay at 2-2. Those were your defensive starters for the Miners. And that one was toasted But luckily for the Miners, it was foul. Kostis will stand in. And it's 2-2 from Corrigan. Counts now worked full, 3-2. One down, tied at 2 here in the top of the second inning. Bottom of the second inning, rather. Pitch into Kostis. Nails that inside corner for strike number 3. And Kostis thought it was a ball, started taking a few steps down the first base line, but home plate umpire Dave Tompkins thought otherwise. And the Miners now with 2 outs in the bottom of the second inning as the center fielder Dominic Foscalina stands in. This is his first at-bat of the night. The 9-hitter. Foscalina out of the Dominican Republic. Or rather, Livermore, California. I was totally looking at the wrong line. He looks at a ball and looks at another ball high, so 2-0. Foscalina attends school at Utah. Through 42 games played, batted .247 this past spring with a .299 on-base percentage. And the 2-0 from Corrigan is fouled straight back and counts at 2 balls, 1 strike. And Foscalina was actually in 2013 invited to the 2013 15U national team trials as he swings through another Corrigan pitch and counts tied up at 2. So Corrigan looking to set down the Pilots in order, as back in the first inning gave up 2 runs. He winds and delivers. This one's lined straight away into center field and off a few hops. Quiggle grabs it. So with 2 outs, Dominic Foscalina keeps the inning alive with a base hit. His 6th hit of the season. And we're back at the top of the Pilots order. Jordan Aruda stands in. Left-handed hitting third baseman. He started things off with a base hit back in the first. And ended up coming around to score the Pilots' first run. So Corrigan once again back in the stretch. Man on the move, Walter's throw down is well off to the left side. That'll fly into left center field, where Kona Quiggle was there to back it up. So Foscalina snags a base. And actually, that brings now the Pilots with 25 stolen bases. They are leading the ABL in that category. And that pitch was a ball. So 1 ball, no strikes, 2 down, bottom of the second inning. We're tied at 2. Corrigan misses outside, and the count's now tied up at 1. Rather, the first pitch was a strike. So we went strike ball from Corrigan. So man in scoring position for the Pilots with 2 outs. Corrigan from the chest takes a peek at second. Now motions to the plate. Walters has to come out of the crouch to grab that one. And the count has moved to 2 balls and 1 strike. The Pilots, before winning 3 days ago against the Bucks, were on a 4-game losing streak. So definitely before their nice little break, got to go into that with a victory. And Corrigan's 2-1 is hit hard on the ground over to short, and Swift fires to first for out number 3. So the Pilots get a hit, but they'll leave him aboard, and we'll stay tied up at 2 as we move into the 3rd inning on Matsu Minor Radio. The Miners bringing the bats out here in the top of the 3rd inning as the score is still tied 2 after Brady Corrigan shuts down the Pilots in the home half of that second inning. And the Miners already with 4 hits, had 6 hits the other night against the Bucks. And we'll run through your team standings. The Oilers on top of the ABL at 11-4. 3.5 behind them is the Miners, followed by the Bucks, who are a half game behind Matsu at 4 games back. And then the Pilots are at 5-7. They're 4.5 back. And in the basement are the Chinooks, 5.5 back. And they're on a 4-game losing streak as well. As first pitch swinging is Tyler Bozetti. He lines one right into the glove of Aruda for out number 1. That was a smack, but sometimes in baseball, you hit them perfectly, but just right at guys.
Yep, you just got to find a hole. And unfortunately, it was a great, he smacked it right on the barrel, but just couldn't find the hole.
So Pinarini stands in. He grounded out to second in his first at-bat. Mascot winds and delivers to him. Misses low on the inside part of the plate. Pinarini is on a 3-game hitting streak currently. And in that 3-game hitting streak, he has 5 RBIs. So he's been productive when he gets a hit in play, as he looked at another ball to move the count to 2 balls, no strikes. Mascot's 2-0. Big Bender drops in for strike number 1. So 1 out here in the top of the 3rd inning. The 2-1 to Pinarini is lined foul over to the right side. So the count is now 2-2 with 1 down.
And Pinarini, he's a line drive hitter. He's a gap-to-gap guy. You might not see a lot of power from him.
2-2 to Pinarini, just misses.
But, he's in that 3 spot, and that's what the coaches would like to see him do. Hit line drives, go gap-to-gap, play a little small ball.
So the count is full with 1 out, and Pinarini lifts one into center field. A few steps over to his right, and making the catch is Foscolina for out number 2. That brings up Spencer Henson, the first baseman, who got a hit in his last at-bat. And now was on a 6-game hit streak, but now back had a chance to start another streak, as he was 0 for 4 the other night against the Bucks. As he looks at a strike, and Henson, ever since coming into the minors, has been on fire. 393 average, 433 on base percentage, with 4 ribbies added to his name. As he looks at a ball low to move the count to 1-1. So Henson came in, got thrown in the fire right in the heart of the order ever since his first game as a minor. So he looks at a ball 2-1 and has done nothing but live up to the expectations.
Originally recruited as a pitcher, but had a fantastic spring season with Oral Roberts.
As he looks at another ball low and in the dirt, move the count to 3-1.
And for Henson, he was recruited by Oral Roberts as a 2-way player. Freshman campaign didn't really swing the bat too well. Was majority of a pitcher. Now this year is...
This 3-1 is skied into right field. On his horse, trying to get to it as McCann, but he'll run out of room. And that'll go foul to move the count to full.
And obviously with his batting average around 360 for the season, he found that 2-way spot again.
So the count is full, 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd inning. We're tied at 2. Moscot's payoff pitch is hit high to the right side, but looks like it's going to go foul once again. Nice crowd here tonight at Mulcahy Stadium. And it's a Friday night, so what a time to go to a ball game. Nice weather. Gotta love it. Wind blowing right to left and kind of coming in as well. So the 3-2 once again. Misses low for ball 4, so Spencer Henson has had 2 at-bats, and he's reached both times. That's Moscot's first walk issued tonight. And the Pilots have the second most walks issued with 53. And Walters on a rope into right field. That's going to one-hop the wall. And on his horse is Henson. He'll try to score from first Rather, he's held up at third. So Aaron Walters, first pitch swinging, belts one out into right field with 2 down. The Miners now with runners on second and third. So what at first looked like this inning was going to be pretty much a shutdown inning for Moscot has turned into a bit of a rally.
Well, for Walters, like we said before, the first pitch is normally going to be a very good pitch to hit, and he's been in a little bit of a funk, so he's starting to snap out of it and getting the bat around.
So with 2 down now and runners on second and third, Danny Wright stands in, looking at a strike on the inner part of the plate. Danny Wright got a double and back in the second inning, which he came around to score. So looking to do similar things this inning as he grounds one over to the right side. Moscot making the play himself for out number 3 of the inning. So the Miners get back-to-back men on. Walters with an exciting double, but they'll leave them both on there. And we'll move into the bottom half of the third inning. Still tied at 2 on Matsu Miners Radio. Bottom of the third inning, Miners 2, Pilots 2. We saw a scoreless top half from the Miners. And the Pilots now bringing it back in this home territory with their 2, 3, 4 batters due up. And Corrigan still on the mound for the Miners. Hasn't done too bad so far. Only allowed 4 hits and 2 runs. And 3 of those 4 happened in the first inning where the Pilots jumped out and got 2 runs. But Corrigan seemed to settle in a groove last inning, retiring the first 2 batters. Ended up giving up a base hit, but then came back, getting a rooted a ground out. Nevertheless, that brings up Ryan Knowles, left-handed hitting second baseman. Knowles out of Mount San Antonio College, where he had a stellar spring. First pitch from Corrigan into Knowles in there for a strike. He batted .351 with a .447 on base percentage in 43 games played. He fouls one off of his foot. In Corrigan, ahead in the count, 0-2. And he had 27 RBIs along with that, with 15 extra base hits. So nice sophomore campaign for Ryan Knowles. But he's down on the count 0-2 to Corrigan, who looks for the strikeout pitch. Gets Knowles swinging as he plops one into left field. Coming in to make the catch is Austin Pinarini for out number 1.
Now, I'm sure Corrigan would have loved to get a strikeout there, but he pitched to contact. Ball's popped up. Either way, he gets an out.
So the catcher from Fresno State stands in, Zach Presno. We'll have a righty on righty matchup with 1 out in the bottom of the third inning. Corrigan winds and delivers, and once again, right back up to him. And actually, I think that was technically a catch because it hit off of his left foot. And he seems to be, rather, I think his right foot, as he seems to be hobbling around. That was a hot shot right back to him. So both pitching coach and head coach and trainer for the Miners head out to the mound to check on Corrigan, who's still scampering around trying to walk it off.
Well, if he wasn't injured, it would be an impressive. It looked like he caught it. Went right off of his ankle and somehow found its way up into his armpit. So somehow he kicked it up into his body and caught it, but threw it over to first anyway to make sure of the outs. I would just have to make sure if he's okay. Because anytime with a pitcher, you got to land on your feet. You got to land and use your legs.
Well, the good thing with Corrigan is he was walking it off. It's not like he hit the ground immediately from it, as Walters will head behind the plate, and Corrigan's going to try to throw it to a few pitches with trainer watching.
Well, this is the point. If you are injured, you got to put on your best act. You got to make sure you don't like wince or anything whenever you land. Or if you are hurt, you have to make sure you let them know. But taking the warm-up pitches, the desire to go out there and continue this game.
And he seems fine as he throws 3, and all the gallery around Corrigan on the field will head back to the dugout. So Corrigan will stay out there after taking that hot shot. And it was probably just one of those stingers. So he'll have a big bruise and it'll be a little swollen tomorrow morning. But other than that, he'll probably be okay.
I'm sure with a bunch of pancakes with pancake breakfast, he'll be all right.
So we'll see how he fares as Braden Daniels stands in, the left-handed hitting left fielder, and Corrigan delivers a strike. Nice fastball, so definitely seems to be doing fine on that foot. So 2 down, bottom of the 3rd inning. We're still tied up at 2. Corrigan from the wind. Just misses for ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Just for the official records, I'm going to put down a line drive to 1 as a put out.
As Corrigan misses outside. And technically, sir, it is not the official. We are not the official stat takers tonight.
No, that's not us.
For our record book, that is. The 2-1 to Daniels fouled off over to the left side out of the play. But hey, for memory's sake, we're going to say it was a line drive. This is a nice play. We'll rewatch the broadcast.
We'll say it was caught by Corrigan.
It was a nice play. As he did motion the umpire that he caught it. Nevertheless, it's 2-2 count. Corrigan misses inside. Daniel hops out of the way of it to count 3-2. So full count, 2 down, bottom of the 3rd inning. Corrigan's payoff pitch is swung hard on the ground, but diving and making the stop is Spencer Henson. And on his horse trying to cover first was Corrigan, but Daniel will beat out the toss from Henson, and he'll reach on an infield single. Great effort there from really both sides. Henson diving to make the stop, and then Corrigan off the mound, off that recently hit foot, sprinting, almost beat Daniel out. But he will reach with 2 outs. So that's back-to-back innings. The Pilots get a man to reach with 2 down. As the left-hander hitting first baseman McCann stands in. 2 RBI single back in the 1st inning. And those were the only 2 runs for the Pilots so far. As he looks at a ball blown away. McCann out of Chaffee College, and back in 2017, through 39 games played, batted .329 with a .429 on-base percentage. He's swinging through, skies it over to the left side, and out of play. But we're tied up at 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Score is tied up at 2. And McCann, in the last time against the Miners, went 0 for 2. Did reach on a walk, but did strike out as well. So Corrigan from the stretch with the man on the move. Walters throw down. This time it's on the money, but did Swift apply the tag? He did. So the Miners, once again, Corrigan leaves the Pilots scoreless here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And we're tied up at 2. And when we come back for innings 4 through 6, well, I'll toss it over to my good pal, Connor Mills, here on Matsu Minor Radio.
7, 8, 9 due up here in the top of the fourth inning. It's the Matsu Miners taking on the Anchorage Glacier Pilots. First pitch from Moscott into Van Blake is too far inside for ball number 1. So once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors of the internet broadcast, Napa Auto Parts of Alaska, and owner Jim Ruda. As the second pitch into Van Blake is too far inside for ball number 2. If you're here in Alaska, go into your locally owned and operated Napa Auto Parts and ask about the Matsu Miner Jersey giveaway for your chance to win. Count sits at 2 balls and no strikes. Make that 1 strike as Van Blake swings through that one. So 2 balls, 1 strike, nobody out, top of the fourth inning. As we said before, this is the second game appeared as this one is lifted out into left field. Moving over is Daniel. Near the line, he makes a catch for out number 1. So Van Blake is retired. And the designated hitter from Mesa Community College, Connor Denning. Denning struck out in the top of the second. And it is now his second trip to the plate. First pitch into him is taken for a called strike. So for Denning, we've said, looking for a little bit more playing time as he looks to prove himself with the bat here. Second pitch in is for a ball. Evens up the count of 1 ball and 1 strike. So 1-1 the count. Pitch into Denning, swung on. This one is grounded foul towards the right side. So now the count is at 1 ball and 2 strikes for Connor Denning. The 1-2 for Moscott in the dirt for ball number 2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Top of the fourth inning. Miners and Pilots are tied at 2. The pitch, this one's lined right to a leaping third baseman, Aruda, to make the catch. Jordan Aruda making a fine play over at third base for out number 2.
And that's the second time tonight the Miners have a nice hit line drive over to third that Aruda robs. Definitely the hot corner tonight.
Drew Swift had a single his last time up. That single produced a RBI, as this game is tied at 2. For Swift, he takes that pitch in for a called strike. The 1-1 taken high and inside for ball number 2. Two balls, 1 strikes, 2 outs. Swing and a miss from Swift. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Swift coming in today with a batting average of 173. Looking to rise that higher as this one is poked out into center field. Moving under it is Foscolina. He makes a catch, and the side is retired. So not much happening for the Matsu Miners in the top half of the fourth inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. Coming to the plate and the bottom of the fourth are the Anchorage Glacier Pilots. You're listening to the Matsu Miners on the Miner Radio. It's the bottom of the fourth inning. Still at the plate. Here's number 35, Aaron McCann. He was at the plate when Braden Daniel was caught stealing. Now all three catchers for the Miners, Walters, Pinarini, and Avitia, as this one is lined out into right field. Is it fair? Is it foul? It's going to be foul. A nice line drive from Aaron McCann. So Walters, Pinarini, and Avitia have all thrown somebody out from behind the plate. The 0-1 from Corrigan, taken on the outside corner for strike number 2.
That's really impressive to have 3 catchers for the Miners that are pretty reliable. It's really a rarity.
A good catching depth as that pitch from Corrigan's too far outside for ball number 1. So 1 ball, 2 strikes, nobody out, bottom of the fourth inning. We're coming to you live from Mulcahy Stadium here in Anchorage, Alaska. The 1-2, too high, ball number 2. Two, the count and the pitch. Swung on. This one's poked out into left field, but foul and out of play.
Corrigan likes to work quickly, so whenever he can stay in that windup with nobody on, that's when he's at his best. Working quickly, getting that wind with him down.
And that one hits McCann. A fastball goes too far inside to the lefty as he reaches base for the second time today.
And per the usual, we once again jinx something else.
We have to say something on air. Anyway, so that brings up Elliot Curtis, the right fielder, so far today. He lined out to the shortstop in his only trip to the plate. First pitch to him, he bunts it right up. Corrigan has it, fires over to first in time, just by a hair, as that will be the first out here in the bottom of the fourth. So sacrifice bunt moves Aaron McCann from first to second. And Elliot Curtis, who was trying to leg out an infield single with it, got thrown out just in time from Brady Corrigan.
Yeah, Corrigan kind of lightly tossed it over to first, not with a lot of zip, and it almost came back to bite him.
So now batting from the right side, Mark Mumper. Mumper batting .238 so far this season. Takes first pitch from Corrigan, too far outside for a ball. So 1-0 count, 1 out. Runner on second. There's been no scores since the second inning, where the Miners tied it up at 2. The pitch, line drive out into foul territory along the right field line. So the count is now even at 1, with Aaron McCann on second base. Outfield shifted towards right. There's a lot of space along the left field line, as Austin Pinarini is in left center field. It looks like we'll have a fan or somebody is over the wall. They're getting back on the correct side of the stadium. Not sure how they got over or why they were over. Maybe to retrieve a foul ball or some sort, but nonetheless, play has resumed. 1-1 the count, 1 out. Corrigan looks back. Now he pitches too high for ball number 2.
Yeah, that was interesting. We see seems like some sort of Pilots employees in the stands talking to someone, but can't quite tell what's going on.
And of course, we have a blockage of view along the right field line. 2 balls, make that 3 balls and 1 strike.
Hopefully that'll break didn't hurt Corrigan, as he's thrown 2 straight balls now. Looks to get back on the strike bandwagon.
So 3-1 the count. Corrigan's pitch is fouled straight back and over the press box. Mumper now brings the count to full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, with only 1 away. Nice symmetry on the scoreboard. 2 runs on 5 hits, no errors for the Miners, and 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Pilots. Corrigan looks in, holds out the chest and deals. Swung on and hit towards the right side and out of play. So the count remains at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
On the scoreboard, these teams very similar, much like they are in the statistical department. Both teams came into tonight. Miners 54 total runs scored, and the Pilots 53 runs scored for 3rd and 4th in the ABL.
And the big difference between the Miners and the Pilots has been their pitching, as Corrigan's pitch is on the inside corner for strike 3 called. So a nice breaking pitch from Brady Corrigan gets his 2nd strikeout of the day. As now there are 2 outs with the runner in scoring position. Brady Corrigan looking to get out of this inning scoreless, as he hasn't allowed a run since the bottom of the 1st. Hopefully we didn't just jinx that too. Nonetheless, first pitch into Kostis is too far outside for a ball. Kostis so far, he was the previous strikeout, as he struck out in the bottom of the 2nd. Corrigan looks back. Now at Walters, as this one is flied high out into center field. Moving in is Kona Quiggle. Who's going to make the catch? It will be Quiggle, as the side is retired. A little communication going between Van Blake and Quiggle. Van Blake gives way to Kona Quiggle in center, as there's no score here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. No hits, no runs, nobody left on base. You're listening to the Matsu Miners on the Miner Radio. It's the top of the 5th inning, and that means Quiggle, Bassetti, and Pinarini due up. It's the top of the order for the Miners, as this ball game is tied at 2 between the Miners and Anchorage Glacier Pilots. We're coming to you live from Mulcahy Stadium here in Anchorage, Alaska. Connor Mills, Brad Walker with you here on the call. First pitch into Quiggle from Moscot is too high for ball number 1. So far today for Quiggle, he had a triple, and the first came around to score on a pass ball. Pitch into Quiggle is too far outside for ball number 2. And then he flew out to right field in the 2nd. It's top of the 5th inning, as Quiggle offers at this one, pokes it out into left field. Moving over a couple steps is Daniels. He makes the catch, and there's one away. So Kona Quiggle is retired on the fly out in F7, and Tyler Bassetti had a line drive to third base his last time up, and also flew out to left. First pitch into him, swing and a miss for strike number 1. Bassetti, as it stands, has a batting average of .229 on the season. Takes a pitch inside for ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the top of the 5th inning. Third pitch in, too far inside for ball number 2.
Tyler Bozzetti really working his way now up into this top part of the Miners order. Doing a good job getting bat on ball.
The pitch swung on, and this one is hit out into center field. Running in and not making the catch is Foscalina. Foscalina had to go a long way to come in to catch the fly ball from Bozzetti, but luck goes his way as that's his first hit today. Moving out was Mumper from short. He couldn't get it. And coming a long way was Foscalina, but the ball finds no man's land as Bozzetti stands on first with a single.
Mumper really awkward angle taking it as he was trying to go almost over his right shoulder into the where his glove is on his left hand. That would have been a real tough grab.
And Moscott checks over to Bozzetti. So Tyler Bozzetti swings a bat, puts the ball in play, and good things happen. As he didn't even step off the bag as Moscott tried to check him again. Austin Pinarini right now batting .286 as he's looking for his first hit today. A 4-3 putout as he takes a strike on the outside corner and a fly out to center field. So no balls, 1 strike, and an out. Here in the top of the 5th, runner on first. Jed Moscott, the pitch. Swung on, ground ball along the line, and just foul. Just a foul ball, says first base umpire Brad Polk.
That stays in the air just a half second longer. That ball bounces after already crossing the first base bag. I believe that would have been an easy stand-in double for Austin Pinarini.
So nonetheless, the count now goes to no balls and 2 strikes as Pinarini will look to stay alive. As another check over to Bozzetti at first from Moscott. Miners have only been caught stealing once this season. 13 stolen bases as this one is hit out into left field. Moving over towards the line is Daniel as he makes a catch. 2 outs. So Spencer Henson will now step in. Henson having a day for himself, a single, and got on with a walk.
Bubba trying the best he can, as always, to lead his Miners to a victory.
Either with the bat or with his glove on the mound. Bozzetti runs back standing. His Moscott is really doing his work, trying to keep Bozzetti from stealing second. First pitch into Henson is a breaker that misses high for ball number 1.
It's nice for the Miners right now. They have 6 hits. That's the same amount they had against the other night with the Bucks.
So 1 ball, no strike, a long hold for Moscott. He finally pitches, and it's in the turf for ball number 2. This game is tied 2-2 between the Miners and the Pilots. Bozzetti's at first, Henson at the plate, and ground ball over to second. Fielded by Knowles, thrown over to first in time for out number 3. So here in the top of the 5th inning, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on base for the Matsu Miners as the Pilots are coming to the plate in the bottom half of the 5th inning. You're listening to the Matsu Miners on the Miner Radio. Due up for the Anchorage Glacier Pilots here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Dominic Foscolina, Jordan Aruda, and Ryan Knowles. This game is tied at 2 apiece between the Miners and Pilots. First pitch from Corgan into Foscolina's for a ball. We have not seen a score since the second, where the Miners scored 1 on a Drew Swift RBI single. Second pitch into Foscolina, bounces into the catcher Walters for ball number 2. It's a cloudy day here at Mulcahy Stadium. Sun starting to break through as this one is hit a long way along the left field line. If it's fair, it's out, and it's going to be called foul. Took a while to see the call, but it is called a foul ball. So this game is still tied at 2. 2-1 the count as this ground ball finds Brady Corgan quickly hustling over to first, and an underhand toss to Henson in time for out number 1. Corgan has been very favorable in finding the ball. So far today, he's fielded 3 of them. 1 off of a line drive. Caught 1 line drive, and official scoring was a line drive back to him. He fielded and threw over to first for an out. As this one from Maruda is lined out into right center field. Almost slipping, but still cutting it off is Danny Wright. A little slippery out there. As Jordan Aruda gets his second hit of the day. So Ryan Knowles now at the plate. He stands in with a runner on first. So far for Knowles as Corgan checks Aruda back. Knowles singled in the first inning, came around to score. Flew out to left field. Back in the third. We're here in the bottom of the 5th. Long hold from Corgan. Third base creeping up. As that's in there for a called strike. So Bassetti is playing in towards the grass. Henson holding on the runner at first. Outfield straight away. Corgan's got the sign. Walters jumps to the inside corner, and that throw is going to go over to first base.
Corgan could really use a double play ball here to get out of this inning. So there's some action in the Miners' pen.
This one swung on a missed from Ryan Knowles. So Brady Corgan's ahead in the count. No balls and 2 strikes.
Swung so hard his elbow pad flew off. That's never a good sign.
Second time it's happened today. So 0-2 with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Jordan Aruda's on first for the Pilots. Brady Corgan for the Miners on the mound. He holds and deals. This one bounces, but Aruda takes off. A low throw from Aaron Walters is not in time for Jordan Aruda. So Aruda taking off almost like a delayed steal, catching Walters a bit off guard. Throws a low throw, and the throw would have been there had it been a little higher. Nonetheless, Jordan Aruda with a stolen base. Pitch into Knowles, too far outside for ball number 2.
The nice thing for Corgan is his shortstop at Arizona State is playing short for the Miners in Drew Swift. So they know each other. They know their tendencies, and trying to pick someone off maybe at second, which is nice chemistry.
The old Arizona State connection as the pitch from Corgan's fouled off towards the left side. Ryan Knowles' helmet has a little protection flap, more commonly seen with Giancarlo Stanton. 2-2 the count, 1 out, runner on second. Corgan set, now he deals. Too high for ball number 3. So the count is full with the base open at first.
And you mentioned that flap that's really becoming more and more popular for hitters, just trying to display some protection in case they do get hit in the face, whether it be a foul ball or a pitch.
A long hold from Corrigan, and the 3-2 swung on, fouled right back. Now, they're always experimenting with ways to try to find what's best to protect the batter and even what's best to protect the pitcher. We've seen a couple in the MLB where a cushioned cap, should a line drive come right back at him. There's no clear solution for that yet. Haven't seen a lot of pitchers transition over to that, as a hat is big. But the 3-2 grounded over towards the right side and foul.
And some guys don't like that flap sort of on the right side of the helmet if they're a lefty, or left side if they're a righty, because it almost sort of blocks their view a little bit, they feel, or it's just uncomfortably sitting on their face. So again, a whole comfort and safety issue that you have to deal with when you come up with products like that.
So it's something they have to get used to if they want it, or don't if they don't. As the pitch from Corrigan, this one is flared over towards the left side, making room and making the catch in foul territory is Drew Swift. So Swift running a long way, all the way into the outfield and over into foul territory. He makes a basket catch, running all the way to the fence, as that's out number 2 here in the bottom of the 5th. What a play from Drew Swift.
There he goes again, showing off that Swift speed. That was incredible. As Bozzetti, I think he called him off originally, and Bozzetti was like, looked back like, really? Next thing you know, there is Swift making the grab. Even we can hear next to us the PA announcer going, wow, what a grab. The minor fans shocked by it too. But you got to love it if you're Brady Corrigan, your shortstop for spring ball and summer ball, is willing to do anything he can to get an out.
It's always great to have that familiarity there, as it looks like we'll see a pitching change here in the bottom of the 5th. So with the pitching change, it looks like it's going to be number 28, Ian Churchill. We'll tell you about him when we return. You're listening to Latsu Miners on the Miner Radio. So Ian Churchill coming in for relief on Brady Corrigan. Final stat line on Corrigan: should it hold, 4 2/3 innings pitched, allowed 6 hits. As of right now, 2 runs, both were earned. The runner on second base is Corrigan's responsibility. No walks and 2 strikeouts. So Corrigan having a nice day, as Ian Churchill will come on to relieve him. Churchill, a lefty, 185 pounds, 6'2", from Santa Barbara Community College. Is also from Santa Barbara, California. His first pitch, too far outside for ball number 1.
Churchill did a nice job, and his first appearance got thrown in right into the fire. I believe there's 2 on. Ended up getting out of that inning with only 1 run given up as there's no outs, and then pitched a nice, solid relief effort.
As a fastball from Churchill gets Presno swinging. This game is tied at 2 here in the bottom of the 5th with 2 outs. The count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Churchill sent, looks back at second and deals in the dirt for ball number 2. So far in the season, Churchill did pick up a win in his only appearance as a 2.45 ERA in 3 2/3 innings pitched. Got 4 strikeouts, but allowed 2 walks as he steps off and brings Arruda back. One and two, the count, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Churchill, the pitch, too far outside and low for ball number 3.
Churchill, a part of that bullpen crew that always brews up some crazy shenanigans. Currently, we haven't seen any today. They may have done some, but we missed it.
The 3-1 from Churchill is too far inside, and he walks him. So Churchill comes in for relief of Corrigan. First batter he sees, it's ball 4. As I'll bring up Braden Daniel.
Well, first base was open, so Churchill, he fell behind early. Sort of a smart way to not try to force anything and possibly give up a big hit.
So that was the first official walk given up by the Miners. As the first pitch into Daniels too low, skips in, and Walters is going to have a conversation.
Yeah, Churchill sort of struggling out of gate right here, but his catcher Walters just having a chat with him. This is the first time these two have worked together in a game. So just want to make sure they're on the right page and calm them down a little bit.
So the count, 1 ball, no strikes, 2 outs. Here in the bottom of the 5th, Matsu Miners and Anchorage Glacier Pilots tied at 2. Miners sitting at 500 on the season with a record of 7-7. Pilots, they're under 500 by 2 games. Second pitch into Daniels in there for a called strike. So whatever Walters said, it worked. As the next pitch was a strike. So 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Murrow's on first and second. Churchill's pitch in the dirt for ball number 2.
You know, most of these pitchers are still working with these catchers, and skipper Ben Taylor allows his catchers to pretty much call their own games. So they still really don't, the catchers don't really know the pitcher's tendencies, what they want to throw. So it's sort of hard for them to call a pitch.
And on the move is Arruda towards third. He's going to go in sliding as a pitch was a 3rd ball. So a straightaway steal for Jordan Arruda. His 2nd of the inning.
Now 9th of the season for Arruda. He is flying around the diamond.
I'd like to see a race between Swift and Arruda. See who wins. There
is a track right behind left field, so, I mean, just lace on the running shoes and let's see what happens.
Who knows what will happen. So anyway, now runners at the corners with 2 away. Count is at 3 balls and 1 strike, and that's going to be taken for a called strike 2.
And Arruda did get a good jump, and that would have been a tough throw for Walters. Obviously, with the right-handed batter, he would have had to step behind him to throw down to third. So probably made the smart choice to hold off.
Zach Presno will be in motion. Count is full with 2 outs as this one is lined towards left field, but foul. So we'll have to do it all over again. 3-2 and 2 outs. Zach Presnos, he's at first. Jordan Arruda, he's at third. Ian Churchill on the mound. And Braden Daniel at the plate. There are two away here as Churchill attempts a pickoff attempt of Presno. He goes back standing.
May have just been a tension reliever for Churchill as he took a long walk back with a full count and 2 outs and the go-ahead run on third.
Looks over at first, throws over to first, and Presno yet again is back standing. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. This game is tied at 2. Churchill looking to keep it that way. The 3-2. Too high for ball number 4. So Ian Churchill, in his second appearance for the Miners, he has faced 2 batters, and he has walked 2 batters. Now draw conversation from pitching coach Jeff Erlap.
And that's real unfortunate for Churchill. He was pretty dominant in his first relief, but this time getting thrown in yet another fire as it's tied at 2. And pitching coach Jeff Erlap just wanting to talk to him, knowing what pitches he's comfortable with, making sure they're on the same page, wanting to relax Churchill a little bit. The nice thing is now there's a force out at any base with 2 outs and a great way to get out of this inning.
Yes, that is if one of the Miners have the ball. So it was a tricky thing.
Yeah.
And the official sponsor of the Matson Minor Internet broadcast, Snap Auto Parts of Alaska, and owner Jim Ruda. If you're here in Alaska, stop into your locally owned and operated Napa. Ask about the Matsu Minor jersey giveaway. Situation here in the bottom of the 5th. Runners at every base. Churchill's first pitch into McCann is for a ball.
Churchill.
Not the way you want to start it off.
Yeah, and he needs to come back with a strike right here to get the count 1-1.
And he does not. As a fastball might have just missed low or inside.
And that was a good attempt, though. That was right on the edge of the zone.
2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs. Bases are loaded. As that fastball finds the inside corner for strike number 1. It looked like the same relative area where the first 2 might have been. But we digress. As that fastball finds the outside corner, Churchill staying out of the middle. He now brings a count to 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Bases are loaded. Runner on third is the responsibility of Corrigan. First and second are Churchill, as this is fouled off towards the left side.
And with the count being tied at 2 and Churchill with a pitch to waste, it's really in his control on what he wants to do with. Whether he wants to waste one, clearly he didn't right there, but he can attack McCann if he wants to.
After walking, I have to imagine he's going to pitch to the little contact. The 2-2. Bends inside for strike 3 called. Ian Churchill, after facing the first 2 batters and walking them, strikes out Aaron McCann for the 3rd out here in the bottom of the 5th. The Matsu Miners and the Anchorage Glacier Pilots are still tied at 2 as we head into the top of the 6th inning. You're listening to the Matsu Miners on the Miner Radio. The Matsu Miners are treading water as this game is still tied 2-2. Aaron Walters will lead us off here in the top of the 6th inning. Miners still sitting at 7-7 as breaking pitch to Walters misses high and outside. Jed Mascot is still the pitcher for the Pirates. Miners 3.5 back as a foul ball from Walters. Count goes to 1-1. So 3.5 back on the Peninsula Oilers. They're leading the ABL with a record of 11-4. Third pitch in, ground ball towards the second baseman Knowles. He has it, throws over to first in time, 1 away. And for the Miners, the road games has been where they struggle the most. On the season, only 2 wins and 4 losses. At home, they feel a little bit more comfortable. 2 games above 500 at 5-3. For the Pilots, they are 3-5 at home. As the first pitch into Danny Wright is too far outside for ball number 1.
And the Miners just need to start putting more guys on base. They did so earlier in this ball game, but haven't quite gotten to it.
And there's another guy on base. Is Danny Wright has a single, and he's going to go and attempt a double. Wright hustling right out of the box, and he'll have a sliding double. So Danny Wright hitting yet again for the Miners.
You have to love it from Danny Wright right there, as Curtis was not really lollygagging it in, but was just making a nice routine play, whereas Wright just said, heck with it. I'm going all the way, not worried about whether the throw's coming in, and that would be ignites a little run here for the Miners.
And with a big chance to have a moment for the Miners is Caleb Van Blake. A long hold for Mascot, and he deals a swing and a miss from Van Blake. Puts the count to 0-1. And Caleb, he's still looking for his first hit in his second game. 0 for 2 today. Grounded out to the pitcher and flew out to left field.
Yeah, he'd love to get his first hit right here to knock in the go-ahead run for the Miners.
Well, this one's grounded over to first base. McCann has it, trots on over. It's a 3 unassisted, but Van Blake moves over Danny Wright. So now with a runner on third base, the Miners are down to their final out in the top of the 6th inning with Connor Denning at the plate.
Denning, it's been a while since we've seen him come through with a big hit, so maybe time has run out for his slump, and the new clock will start for a streak.
First pitch into Connor Denning is too high for ball number 1. Denning, 19 years of age, a switch hitter. Throws right, 5'10", 185 pounds from Phoenix, Arizona. Second pitch to him is too far outside. Over the season, he batted .372 in the ACCAC. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's the Arizona Community College Athletic Conference. A lot to say in a short period of time as Denning swings through that one to put the count at 2 balls and 1 strike. So Connor Denning batting from the left side, faces Mascot. The pitch bounces in the turf for ball number 3.
Denning, we see it in practice. He hits some real shots, even throws it over the fence here and there. But unfortunately, once it came to a game situation, hasn't quite brought that power.
You know, with a lot of the additions of the Miners, you know, a lot of other people getting some playing time, and kind of lost in the mix was Denning, but he's here now and trying to make a staple of it. And takes ball 4. So Connor Denning reaches base for the first time today, as Drew Swift will now bat.
And that might not be a hit for Denning, but it helps out the team. And ultimately, that's what every Miner wants to do, is do something that helps the team. This will add some pressure on Mascot, who's going in. This is, I believe, one of his longer starts of the season. And it's going to be tough now with runners on the corners, the go-ahead run being on third, and Swift coming to the plate, who has already delivered with a big RBI earlier in this game.
So now there are runners at the corners for the Miners, but are 2 away. Here in the top of the 6th, this ball game is tied at 2 between the Miners and the Pilots. We're here at Mulcahy Stadium, home of the Pilots and home of the Bucks. Drew Swift batting from the right side. He steps in against Jed Moscott. First pitch to Swift is swung on a miss. The ball was on the outside corner. So strike 1 to him.
Swift just ahead of that one. Needs to settle in, dig in, and wait just a bit longer.
Not a big lead from Denning as this one is looped out into right field, coming on. Looks like he will make the catch, and he does. Is the outfielder Elliot Curtis. So on 1 hit, no runs, no errors, 2 left on base for the Miners, as this ball game is still tied between the Matsu Miners and the Anchorage Glacier Pilots. You're listening to the Matsu Miners on the Miner Radio. It's the bottom of the 6th inning, and we have a defensive change now for the Miners. Coming in to catch for Aaron Walters is David Avitia. Avitia from Grand Canyon, a freshman there. Hometown, Phoenix, Arizona. First pitch from Churchill into the batter is for a ball. Curtis batting from the left side. Second pitch into him. He grounds over to the right side and foul.
I would have to imagine the biggest change for this is Avitia and Churchill work together already this season in Churchill's first appearance. So a familiarity thing for the substitution.
1-1 the count. The pitch, a bunt. Avitia has it in fair territory. Throws over to Henson at first in time for the first out. So all ready for David Avitia. First batter he comes in for. Already sees a little action.
Yeah, and he was ready. It's sort of tough. A bit of a chilly night here in Anchorage as he's been sitting on the bench the whole game, but quickly propped out of the crouch.
So Mark Mumper, the shortstop. First pitch from Churchill was for a ball. Mumper today flew out to right field and struck out looking. He was the second strikeout for Brady Corrigan, who went 4 2/3. Churchill came in on relief, walked 2 batters as he misses high and away for ball number 2. He walked 2 to get the bases loaded in the bottom half of the 5th inning, but then struck out Aaron McCann to end the threat. So 2 balls, no strikes. The pitch swung on and missed from Mumper. Puts the count at 2-1. And it has really been the bats that are keeping the Pilots afloat. We are second in on-base percentage with .344 as a team. Swing and a miss from Mumper for strike number 2. And when they get on base, it's been their speed. Coming into today, 24 stolen bases. I believe it's now at 26.
Yes, it is.
As the curveball misses outside from Churchill, so the count runs full here in the bottom of the 6th.
Rather, it's at 27.
27.
Partner.
One away. Tried to do quick math. The 3-2 grounded over to Drew Swift. He's charging in. Has it. Fires over to first in time for the second out. Drew Swift making everything look easy as he's able to retire Elliott Curtis. Or check that, Mark Mumper. As Garrett Kosis, the designated hitter. Actually, we will have a pinch hitter for Garrett Kosis. It's going to be number 12, Eli Rollinson. So Rollinson will come in to pinch hit for Garrett Kosis. First pitch looks like it nicked home plate umpire Dave Tompkins. As Aviti is going to walk out towards the mound, as will Drew Swift. So Eli Rollinson, 6'3", 225 pounds, a freshman from Bradley University out of Jacksonville, Florida.
Rollinson's did a nice job of getting on base this season. His on-base percentage is up near 300 at 293.
That's about 60 points higher than his batting average, sitting at 237. Pitch from Churchill, fouled off towards the left side. So the count is at 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Churchill's pitch on the outside corner for strike number 2. Churchill 1 strike away from a scoreless relatively second inning of relief. Fastball rides high and away. Churchill currently has pitched 1 inning. And out in the bottom of the 5th. 2 here is a strike 3. Swing and a miss from Eli Rollinson. Churchill got him. As it is a scoreless bottom of the 6th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. Matsu Miners and the Anchorage Glacier Pilots are tied at 2 as we head into the top of the 7th. Brad Walker will be with you back on the call. You're listening to the Matsu Miners on the Miner Radio.
Welcome back into Mulcahy Stadium here in Anchorage, Alaska for your final 3 innings of play between the Miners and the Pilots. We're still tied at 2. It's been really a pitching duel all game long. Right out of the gate, we thought it might be who was going to have the most runs, which it still is, obviously, but we saw 3 runs through the first 2 innings. We thought it was going to get exciting. Nevertheless, the pitchers have found their groove and have shut down since then. We do have a pitching change for the first time tonight for the Pilots, as Cody Kerfman comes in for Jed Moscott. The starter had a nice outing, 6 innings pitched, only giving up 2 runs, which were both earned on 7 hits, walked 2 batters, and also struck out 2 as well. That brings on Kerfman, the right-hander. He's actually out of Chugiak, Alaska, so right down the road as he misses outside to Conequiggle. He's out of Mount Hood Community College, and his last appearance was a few days ago against the Oilers, where he went 3 innings and gave up no runs. Conequiggle smashes one into center field, but right to Dominic Foscolina, who scales back a few steps to make the catch for out number 1.
A nice line drive off the bat of Conequiggle, but the outfielder Foscolina was just playing him deep. And after the leadoff triple in the first inning, I'd play him deep too.
As I mentioned, Cody Kerfman, his last appearance, 3 innings pitched, no runs given up on 1 hit. Did have 1 strikeout as well. So that brings up Tyler Bozzetti, the right-handed hitting third baseman. He looks at a ball inside. Bozzetti, he's 1 for 2 today. Back in the 3rd inning, got robbed on a line drive to Arruda. Then a hit in his last at-bat. He'll take another ball and around the ankles. Bozzetti has scored at least 1 time in the past 3 out of 4 games that he has played. So he'll take another ball to move the count to 3-0. Bozzetti has drawn 4 walks so far this season, as he does have that high 327 on base percentage. Doing a nice job of getting on. And the 3-0 barely hits that outside edge. Moves the count to 3-1. So we're still tied up at 2. Miners looking to go ahead here in the 7th. As Bozzetti takes one low, ball 4, he'll reach, and the Miners have the go-ahead run on.
Well, it's always nice when runner gets on base. Miners now just need to find a way to start punching them in.
So Austin Pinarini stands in, a righty on lefty matchup, and Pinarini has delivered multiple times before late in ball games. Last time we were actually in, or rather, 2 games ago. He delivered a big double to add in some insurance on that 12-inning marathon as he looks at a strike outside. Move the count to 0-1. Pinarini came into tonight, had 6 ribbies, looks to add 1 more. He's 0 for 3 currently today. Kerfman kicks and delivers. He just misses. Move the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. Kerfman, this is only his 2nd appearance this season out of that Pilots bullpen. He'll check Bozzetti down over at first. And the Miners only scoring 3.9 runs per game. So not a whole lot of run production, but a good amount. They would definitely like to increase that average. And Bozzetti's on the move, as the pitch was a ball. The throw was in time, but mishandled by the shortstop Mumper. So Tyler Bozzetti slides in safely with a stolen base.
2nd for the Miners.
So count is at 2 balls, 1 strike with 1 out here in the top of the 7th inning. The Miners with the go-ahead run on second base and Tyler Bozzetti. Kerfman kicks and deals. Bozzetti, or rather, Pinarini is swinging. Bounces it over to the right side. So the count's tied up at 2 as Austin Pinarini looking to deliver big for the Miners. Looking for his 11th hit of the season. Kerfman's 2-2. Pinarini thought about it, but held up, and he has worked the count full.
You know, Pinarini, very smart at the plate. He's disciplined. You know, he's trying to see what are balls, what are strikes. So a good hold for him there.
So Kerfman comes set, chest high. The 3-2 pitch is fouled off out of play to the left side. And the Miners now have had runners on base 6 out of 7 innings so far. So that's always good when you can put the pressure on pitchers and hopefully even tack on runs, which unfortunately haven't come too nicely for the Miners tonight, only with 2. So we'll try the full count again as Kerfman motions to the plate, and Pianarini lifts one high left side, slicing foul, and that'll head just in front of the Miners' pen. Keep the count full. So Kerfman out of the stretch, comes set, checks second, now pays attention to the plate, and he'll miss well outside for ball 4, and Austin Pianarini is on.
Again, another good hold from Pianarini. Now the Miners just need to get the train rolling. One Miner after another. It doesn't have to happen with one swing of the bat. It would be nice if that happens, but you just keep the line moving.
And now probably the scariest batter of the Miner lineup, Spencer Henson, stands in. He's 1 for 2 today, has reached twice, got a base hit back in the first, and then walked back in the 3rd inning. Already 4 RBIs and bat .393 a clip heading into this game. He now has runners on first and second with 1 out. He takes a breaking ball inside for strike 1. But with runners on first and second, tied at 2, he'd love to deliver big for Matsu. No one holding Pianarini at first. As Kerfman checks second, they're close in on Bozzetti, and Henson fouls one off of his foot. He does wear that foot pad, but I believe it may have sneaked in to where that wasn't any padding. Kind of shakes it off as home plate umpire Dave Tompkins cleans the plate. The season series so far is tied up at 2 apiece, and all 4 games have been in spans of double headers. And actually, the home team in both of those games won game 1, and then the away team won game 2 in both of those. So nice little train. We're only playing 1 tonight, as we'll play the next game in the series tomorrow night at 10. Henson swings at the 0-2, skies it over to the right side out of play to keep the count at 0-2. As I mentioned, only playing 1 tonight, and then the 10 p.m. game right here, Mulcahy Stadium. And as always, Connor Mills and I will be on the call for that one as well. But we're still in this game as it's top of the 7th inning, tied at 2. Pitch into Henson, misses low. Nice block by Presno. As the Miners did get their first runner crossed on a passed ball.
Henson, a very selective hitter. He knows his strike zone and he knows what he wants to swing at.
Henson had 57 RBIs this past spring, so he knows how to bring them in. The 1-2 pitch is hit hard on the ground in between the hole of first and second. Around third and attempting to score is Bozzetti. He'll get in before the throw, and sliding into second is Spencer Henson, who delivers the go-ahead run for the Matsu Miners in the top of the 7th inning. They now lead the Pilots 3-2.
Big old Bubba, big bat coming through for the Miners yet again. That adds on now 5 RBIs for Spencer Henson on the season. And he's been that clutch guy. There's a reason why he's batting cleanup for the Miners. He's always getting on base. He's getting the hits. It's been fun to watch him in the early starts.
It really is. He already is up to 5 RBIs, which is up in the upper half of the ABL at least, which is surprising. Only a few games played for Spencer Henson. Nevertheless, he's made it worthwhile. So now the Miners have runners on second and third with only 1 out. Infield is in for the Pilots as Avitia hits one, dribbles over to third. Aruda checks back the runner at third and then throws over to first for out number 2. So that settles down the excitement for just a second here at Mulcahy Stadium for the Miners. As we have 2 down now, and switch hitter Danny Wright stands in. He'll bat lefty once again against the right-hander Kerfman. In the Miners, this is a good trend. They are 7-1 when scoring more than 2 runs this season. So now with 3 as they lead 3-2. As Kerfman misses outside. So the Miners finally getting some runs aboard. Last night sort of struggled in that department until late in the game as they only scored 2. So Kerfman's 0-1 to right, misses inside. and the count has moved to 1-1. Danny Wright is 2 for 3 today. Wright is third in batting average. Well, was third coming into this game, and that'll rise up as he's 2 for 3 currently. Came in with a 324 batting average.
Was able to rise it to 350.
So Kerfman kicks and delivers, gets Wright to swing through the outside pitch. And even more impressive, came in tonight 468 on base percentage. So Wright looks to deliver some insurance for the Miners as they're ahead 3-2 here in the top of the 7th inning. Kerfman's 1-2, misses low. Nice block by Presno as it did squirt out to the right side, but not enough for Pinerini to come and score.
That ball would have had to go a little bit further of a distance for Pinerini to come in and score. It's not a question of speed, but the ball was too close for him to take a chance on it.
You definitely know the Miners, they would like another run to be tacked on for insurance to lay the load off a little bit of those relief pitchers. A 1-2 pitch from Kerfman. Big bender, doesn't bend enough inside though. So counts move to 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. And against the Pilots, who have, as I said, the highest ERA in the ABL with a 4.5, they would really like to, if not get up to that level, get close to it by tacking on another run. The Pilots coming into this game gave up 101 hits, which was tied for the second most hits in the ABL. As Kerfman's payoff pitch is skied into left center field, moving over to his left and making the grab is the left fielder Daniel. But the Miners once again go ahead in this game for the first time since the first inning, 3-2 over the Pilots off a couple men aboard through walks, and then Spencer Henson, the big double to move the Miners ahead of the Pilots, 3-2. We'll head into the 7th inning on Matsumoto Miners Radio. So we're done stretching here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. And the Miners, before we did stretch, took a nice 3-2 lead in the top half of the 7th inning. Nevertheless, we're in the bottom, and Dominic Pascalina stands in. So lefty on righty matchup start this home half of the 7th inning. Ian Churchill will miss on the outer edge. Pascalina tonight's 1 for 2. Did steal a base when he reached on a single in the 2nd inning. So Churchill kicks and delivers. He's always working from the stretch. Nails a fastball in to move the count to 1-1. Churchill comes set. 1 ball, 1 strike. His pitch is swung and missed by Pascalina. And actually, I think it nipped the bottom of the bat and then hit off home plate umpire Dave Tompkins' mask. He seems to be okay, but checking to make sure his mask is. Doesn't seem like there's any dents on it, so we'll keep moving on.
He's been taking a beating behind the plate today.
You know, these past few games, it was the other night against the Bucks, Ruiz was taking a beating as catcher. This time, home plate umpire Dave Tompkins is taking the beating, and he has to go in every inning behind the plate. He doesn't have a choice. Churchill's ahead in the count 1-2. Gets Pascalina swinging. He grounds it over to Swift, who runs up and makes the play for out number 1.
You know, should everything stay the way it is, in 2 appearances, Churchill now has a chance to go 2-0 as a reliever.
Great. You just had to say it.
Listen.
Nevertheless, only one out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Jordan Arruda stands in, the league leader in batting average in the ABL. He's 2 for 3 tonight, so doing more of the same as he's done all season. He does look at a fastball in for a strike from Churchill. So the count is no balls, 1 strike with 1 out. Bozzetti playing in at third as Churchill misses to move the count to 1-1. He's just a step inside the third base bag. Possible bunt opportunity from Arruda. There's somebody up in the Pilots' pen and the Miners' pen. So Churchill misses again. Count heads to 2-1.
I've got confidence in Churchill that he can go further and keep this game the way it is.
And hopefully the Miners can get back into the win column as Churchill, nice pitch, moves the count to 2-2. And Arruda was disappointed in himself on that one. Knew it was a strike right when Avitia caught it. So Churchill looks to set down Arruda. He comes set, chest high, kicks and deals. Just misses inside. Arruda had to sort of move his hands. So Arruda out of Fresno State, where he batted .305 this past spring. A full count pitch nails the outer edge for strike number 3 and out number 2 of this bottom of the 7th inning. Arruda was halfway down first as Dave Tompkins, the home plate umpire, was ringing him up. Big strikeout from Ian Churchill. That's his 3rd strikeout of the night, 5th strikeout for the Pilots.
The Miners, they're a strikeout team. You know, we have Malachi Emmond who's there, but as a team effort, you know, this is a squad that goes there, finds their pitches, and able to punch out some batters.
So they've now struck out 113 batters as a staff. Coming into the game, they had a 108, which was 3rd most. So they'll move up that ladder as Churchill has missed 2 in a row for 2 straight balls. This time brings him back in the zone. Counts moved to 2 ball, 1 strike. Ryan Knowles steps in. He's 1 for 2 today. Came around to score in the 1st inning and has flown out twice ever since. The 2-1 from Churchill misses high and away. So we'll have a hitter's count to Ryan Knowles, 3rd baseman out of Mount San Antonio in Corona, California. Lefty on lefty matchup. The pitch. This one hits that outside edge. That's what rung up Arruda, and that's what will bring this count to a full count. So 3-2 with 2 down and the bottom of the 7th. Churchill, deep breath, kicks and deals. As Knowles will foul it off over to the left side and out of play. Beautiful night here in Anchorage. That sun peeking through the clouds. Not too much wind as it's coming in a little bit from right field. Nevertheless, we have a full count. The payoff pitch is a check swing grounder right up the middle that Churchill gets quickly, speeds over to first and tosses to Henson for out number 3. So Churchill sets the Pilots down in order 1-2-3, and the Miners will hold on to a 3-2 lead as we head into the 8th inning on Matsu Miner Radio. Top of the 8th inning here at Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage, Alaska. Miners holding on to a 3-2 lead. They tacked on 1 in the top half of the inning, in the last inning. And we see yet another pitching change for the Pilots, rather. Ryan Hodgett stands in, the right-handed thrower out of Bradley University. He originally hails from West Chicago, Illinois. Hodgett this past spring at Bradley, 10 appearances for 25 innings pitched, gathered up a 1-1 record with a 5.04 ERA. He struck out 22, and this will be his 5th appearance, as he's pitched in his 4 appearances, 6 innings pitched, squandered up a record of 1-0, and has a 12.0 ERA right now. He's given up 10 hits and 2 walks, but has struck out 6. He comes in relief of Cody Kerfman, who went 1 inning, gave up 1 hit, 1 run, which was earned, and walked 2. And Hodgett will face Van Blake, Denning, and Swift to begin the 8th inning. A righty on lefty matchup. Van Blake's first pitch swinging, dribbles it foul over to the right side, and looks like he cracked his bat, so he'll ask for a new one. And he'll step back in the box. Down 0-1. Van Blake today 0 for 3, still in search of that first hit as a minor. He's reached once, walked back in his first game as a minor. This is only his 2nd game in the Alaska Baseball League. And with the score only being 3-2, he'd like to help out tacking on another insurance run. So Hodgett from the line misses high and away for ball 1. Miners 8 hits tonight. As the 1-1 to Van Blake is popped over to the gap in between second, or rather short and third, and off the 1 hop. Nice play from Aruda.
Aruda ranging over into shortstop territory, and that was close. So that's going to draw a little conversation from manager Ben Taylor.
And he actually ran over, told Van Blake to stay on first, as first base umpire Brad Polk called him out. But Ben Taylor pleading his case, saying he beat it out. It was simple. I'm sure he would like another opinion maybe, but it's going to be hard to get it reversed. So we do not have replay rule here in the Alaska Baseball League.
Well, it's interesting because Taylor, at third base coach, he sees it on a different angle than where Brad Polk saw it. Polk saw it kind of face on where the first baseman McCann was ranging back and kind of towards him. So he saw it on towards McCann, where Taylor saw the base and McCann.
So nevertheless, it will go down as a 5-3 putout as skipper Ben Taylor walks back to third base, still angrily, still discussing the play, sort of yelling across the infield. Maybe that could be a reason to pump his players up to add on to this 3-2 lead. So with 1 down, that brings up the switch hitting designated hitter, Connor Denning, with 1 out. Denning tonight, he is 0 for 2. Walked in his last at-bat last inning. So Hodgett winds and delivers after the little break. He'll miss low and away for ball 1. And Hodgett this season, well, as we mentioned, 12.0 ERA, 5th appearance. And Denning skies one into center field. Coming in is Foscolina, calls off the left fielder Daniel, and makes the catch for out number 2. That brings up the 9-hitter Drew Swift. 1 for 3 today. Had a big RBI back in the 2nd inning to improve his RBI count to 4. Also stole a base, so he is up to 7 stolen bags this season. And he'll look to extend the top half of this 8th inning. The first pitch into Swift. This is high for ball 1. And Hodgett, actually, back in high school, led his high school St. Francis to a 3rd place finish as a junior back in 2015. He hits the outer edge for a strike. So very nice accomplishment for Hodgett as he winds and delivers the 1-1. Swift fouls it off over to the right side and out of play. Hodgett, his last appearance was the 19th against the Bucks, where he went 1 inning, didn't give up any runs, allowed a hit and a walk, but struck out 2 and 5 batters faced. So was efficient in work of relief. Nevertheless, he's ahead in the count, 1-2. The pitch misses high. Fresno had to come out of the crouch to make that catch. So now the Pilots have given up 72 runs, which is the most in the ABL. As Hodgett misses low and away to Swift. And the count is now worked full. They'd love to get Swift on. A lot of speed. Can definitely move around the bases and possibly come in for an insurance run as the Miners lead 3-2 here in the top of the 8th inning. And the 3-2 for Swift is lined on a rope into center field. He will extend the top half of this 8th inning with a base hit, his second of the night. Now 11 hits on the season for Drew Swift.
And, as a 9-hitter, they're almost really like the second leadoff guy. You get him on, and then you get the top of the order going and rolling. Gives them another chance to get some RBIs. Just gives Miners another opportunity.
And it brings up a righty on lefty matchup as Quiggle steps up to the dish. He looks at a ball on the outer edge for strike one, or rather, strike on the outer edge for strike one. So 3-2 is your score, top of the 8th inning. Miners on top. Hodgett, long hold. Swift is on the move, but Quiggle was swinging, fouls it back and behind the press box. So a little hit and run action going on, trying to get Swift going and a ball in play. Open up the gap in between first and second and third and short. So Quiggle down on the count, no balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Hodgett comes set. His pitch. Quiggle holds off, and that ball was in the dirt, so Swift goes into second standing. So Drew Swift now up to 8 stolen bases this season. That is one behind Jordan Arruda for the Pilots, who has 9. And the count is at 1-2. As we'll see a little mound visit from Fresno. Talks to his pitcher, Ryan Hodgett. With this break, we'd like to thank the official sponsor of the Mat-Su Miners Internet broadcast, Napa Auto Parts of Alaska, and owner Jim Ruda. And stop into any one of your locally owned and operated Napa Auto Parts of Alaska and enter in to the Mat-Su Miners jersey giveaway. So stop in and enter today. So Hodgett's 1-2 is lined just over the head of second baseman Knowles. Swift's around third. He will score easily, and the Miners add to that 3-2 lead, make it 4-2 off the RBI single from Kona Quiggle.
That's why it's so important to get Swift on base. He can steal second, and then on a base hit like that, he can come around to score. Kona Quiggle having himself a day with the triple, now an RBI single.
Really is. He's been a part of 2 of those runs. Came around to score himself back in the first inning, and now delivers the nice 2-out single. He's been clutch lately for the Miners and showing it off tonight as Tyler Rossetti stands in and looks at a first pitch strike. So the Miners now ahead 4-2. They've reached 10 hits now this game. So a nice hitting display for the Miners tonight, only with 6 last night. As Bozzetti looks at a ball, the count is now tied up at 1. Bozzetti is 1 for 3 tonight, has reached twice. And he swings behind Hodgett's fastball, and he's down in the count 1-2. Bozzetti reached on a walk last inning, ended up coming around to score the 3rd run, which was the go-ahead. So Hodgett comes set, looks to get out of this inning. His pitch is swung on and missed by Tyler Bozzetti, and that'll do it for the top of the 8th inning. But not before the Miners get a couple hits across and drive one in to improve their lead. They leave Kona Quiggle on first. Nevertheless, the Miners on top of the Pilots 4-2. We head into the bottom half of the 8th inning on Mat-Su Miner Radio. Welcome back into Mulcahy Stadium here in Anchorage, Alaska. The Miners tacked on one more in the top half of this 8th inning. They now lead the Pilots 4-2. And a new Miner on the mound is right-handed relief man Nathan Bach, looking to come in for would more than likely be a 6-out save, which he has done already once this year. Bach's been dominant for the Miners through 6 appearances, gathered a record of 1-0, has 2 saves in 10 2/3 innings pitched, with an ERA of 1.68. He's only allowed 5 walks, 7 hits, and has 10 strikeouts. So Nathan Bach standing in. He's out of Southeast Missouri and hails from O'Fallon, Missouri. So he'll face Presno, Daniel, and McCann, the heart of this Pilot order. And his first pitch is a fastball that hits the outer edge for strike 1. No balls, 1 strike to begin the bottom half of this 8th inning. And the Pilots need to get those 2 runs back sooner rather than later, as Bach delivers a nice slider in for strike 2. As they trail 4-2. Miners looking to deliver their 5th loss in 6 games. And swinging through Bach's pitch is Zach Presno, who was fooled hardcore on that one for out number 1 of the inning.
Nathan Bach just comes in and does what he does. Has been the most reliable reliever out of the Miners bullpen. And I'm saying something because the Miners have a lot of reliable relievers.
They really do. I don't know if there's really one that I could personally pick out. There's at least 3 or 4 that just come in and shut the door every time they pitch. Nevertheless, a righty on lefty matchup as Braden Daniels stands in. After really hurting the Miners the last time these 2 teams played, as he looks at a ball in the dirt to move the count to 1-0. Hasn't done too much damage today. He's reached twice, but no RBIs. To mention, the last time these 2 teams played back on the 10th, he went 3 for 4 with 2 ribbies. And he's swinging on this one. That's a hot shot over to Caleb Van Blake, who, nice play moving over to his left and throws to first for out number 2 of the inning. That brings up Aaron McCann. McCann is a guy for the Pilots that has done damage today, has the Pilots 2 RBIs as they trail 4-2 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning. McCann is 1 for 2, reached twice. As I mentioned, the single back in the first inning for a couple ribbies and was hit by a pitch in the 4th. So Bach standing in, cruised through the first 2. His pitch into McCann once again, hit hard over to Van Blake, who swallows it up and tosses it to first for out number 3. So Bach comes in and shuts the door down for the Pilots. They are set down in order, and the Miners bats will look to add on some insurance in the top of the 9th inning. When we come back on Matsu Miners Radio, the Miners leading the Pilots 4-2. Welcome back into the final inning of action here at Mulcahy Stadium. The Miners on top of the Pilots 4-2 of game one of this two-game series. Game two tomorrow night at 10 p.m., where it's a summer solstice celebration here at the ballpark. The game starting at 10 p.m. and we'll play well into the night. Hopefully we get beautiful weather like this so the lights won't have to be turned on. We can just use that nice natural sunlight. Nevertheless, Austin Pinarini stands in. Pinarini, Henson, and Avitia do up for the Miners. Pinarini reached in his last at-bat on a walk. And righty on lefty matchup to begin this inning. Pinarini swinging on the first pitch. Flies it well over the press box. As I think I see the construction cap on one of the Miners, so it's back. Game now 3 in a row that we've seen the construction helmet. Pinarini looks at a ball inside, hops out of the way of it, moves the count to 1 ball, 1 strike. So Hodgett winds and delivers the 1-1. Misses away for ball 2.
I have to imagine that construction cap, as long as we're winning ball games, that's going to be a fixture out in the bullpen for a little while.
Really will. And Hodgett was actually the winning pitcher back in game 2 last time these two teams played. As Pinarini fouls one over to the left side, trying to make the play is Aruda, but he'll run out of space as he hits the fence. So Hodgett was the winning pitcher in game 2 of the doubleheader, and was ultimately the last time these two teams met, which was 12 days ago. So the count's at tied at 2. Nobody out. Leading off this 9th inning for the Miners is Austin Pinarini, making his 3rd start in left field tonight. And he'll swing through an outside pitch. First strike number 3 and out number 1. It's going to be tough unless the Pilots extend this game. Austin Pinarini's 3-game hit streak may have just come to a close. So that brings up the first baseman, Spencer Henson. Henson has been the man on fire today. He's 2 for 3 with an RBI, which came back in the 7th inning. Drive around the 3rd run. He ducks out of the way of the first pitch fastball from Hodges for ball 1. So he improves his RBI total to 5. And his average will, I imagine, slowly keep creeping up as he looks at a pitch from Hodgett in for a strike. The Hobbit's a movie.
Yes, it is.
Counts at 1 ball, 1 strike with 1 down. Hodgett from the wind, the pitch misses high and away for ball 2. And it's got to be tough to pitch to Spencer Henson. He's a tall figure standing in there. I mean, the guy is 6'2". From the right side of the plate. Nevertheless, the 2-1 from Hodgett misses high again, and Henson's worked his way into a hitter's count.
No, I've never seen The Hobbit.
Nevertheless, kicks and deals from Hodgett is skied into center field, and Fascolina stared at it and then made his way up to make the catch for out number 2.
That was a major league pop-up from Spencer Henson. A lot of airtime underneath that one.
So David Avitia stands in. Avitia came in to catch back in the 6th inning, so he is 0 for 1 today. Grounded out in his first at-bat. Right-handed hitting catcher out of Grand Canyon University. Looks at a breaking ball. That misses inside. So 1-0 count with 2 down. In the top of the 9th inning, Miners on top 4-2. Hodgett's 1-0, misses high. Move the count to 2-0. So Vitia, the catcher that originally hails out of Phoenix, Arizona, batting 176 this season so far as he looks at a strike inside. Vitia, however, does have 4 ribbies this season. Nice job of driving in runners. Doesn't have anyone on here now. I'd like to extend this Miners half of the inning. So he looks at a ball in the dirt. Hitters count to David Avitia, 3-1 with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. Hodgett's already worked 1 inning of relief. This is his 2nd. As he kicks and deals, he'll miss outside, and David Avitia will reach with 2 outs. As that's Hodgett's first walk issued tonight. The 5th by the Pilots, and their total is now up to 58 walks issued on the season. That brings up switch hitting right fielder Danny Wright, 2 for 3 today. Flew out in his last at bat as he looks at a strikeout side. And the throw from Presno is well over Hodgett's head. Luckily, there was some backup because Vitia was paying attention, was ready to head down. Luckily for the Pilots, nothing to do with it. And the Miners were on a 3-game win streak before the Bucks dropped them to another loss and moved them to 7-7. So they look to move back above the 500 column as Wright looks at a ball. Move to 8-7. They're tied at 7 right now. 1-1 to Wright is fouled back for strike number 2. They will still need 3 outs to do it as they work with a 2-run lead. As there's only 2 outs, though, in the top of this 9th inning. And with a runner on first, they have a chance to extend it. So Hodgett kicks and misses low. So counts at 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, top of the 10th, top of the 9th, 4-2. Big breaker from Hodgett, misses high on the outside corner. We're full with 2 outs. Miners also looking to get their 3rd win of the season on the road. As Hodgett's payoff pitch is swung on and missed by Danny Wright. So the Miners look to get 3 outs in the bottom of the 9th to end this ball game. They currently lead 4-2 over the Pilots. Keep it here on Matsu Miners Radio. Miners just need 3 more outs to get above 500 and move to 8-7. We do have a pitching change and some defensive changes, so we'll talk about the defensive changes first. And it is for defensive purposes. Braden Merritt comes in. He comes in for Austin Pinerini, but he'll play center, and Kona Quiggle will move over to left, as this is just Pinarini's 3rd start in left field. So he'll come out, and the 2 true outfielders will come in. And on the mound, we see right-hander Bryce Tassin come in. This is Tassin's 7th appearance. Has came in late, has been technically labeled the Miners closer. He has 1 save on the season. 2.57 ERA, has worked up an 0-2 record, however. But through 7 innings pitched, has 9 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 7 hits. And speaking of extra innings, I'll throw it over to my partner Connor to update you on what's going on around the ABL.
Well, the out-of-town scoreboard, the Chugiak Eagle River Chinooks and the Peninsula Oilers are tied at 2. That game is in the bottom of the 12th, tied at 2. Oilers 2 hits and an error. The Chinooks 2 runs on 7 hits, no errors. So that one is going long.
We definitely had our fair share of those. Nevertheless, the 3 due up for the Pilots. There's going to be Elliot Curtis, Mark Mumper, and Eli Rollinson, unless we see some pinch hitters. So Tassin standing in. He's from southeastern Louisiana. and originally hails from Walker, Louisiana. 17 appearances this past spring for Southeastern Louisiana, and his first pitch misses outside, where he gathered a 2-1 record through 23 and a third innings pitched, 4.63 ERA in his redshirt sophomore campaign. He misses again outside, 2-0 to Elliott Curtis. Left-handed hitting right fielder. He's 0 for 2 today. Had a sac bunt back in the 4th inning. And we'll look at ball 3. So he's ahead in the count, 3-0. The Miners leading the Pilots 4-2. As they are hoping for a Chinook win to move them closer to the Oilers. Tassin winds and delivers. He misses high, and Elliott Curtis will take his base. And now the tying run has come to the plate.
Well, as a closer, you don't want to walk the first batter, but it's not the worst thing in the world. You still have 2 more bases to play with. Another opportunity right here.
Tassin's been pretty clutch for the Miners this season. And that brings up Mark Mumper. So righty-on-righty matchup. This is in favor of Tassin. He'll be from the stretch. His first pitch to Mumper hits the inside corner for strike 1. Curtis does not have a stolen base on the season, but he is on the team that has the most. They're up to 27 stolen bases on the year. So Tassin kicks and deals. Another fastball fouled back by Mumper. Mumper 0 for 3 today. Struck out once back in the 4th inning. And Tassin now ahead 0-2. Will look for a strikeout and try to get in that double-digit strikeout count. Tassin looking in. Now will come set from the torso after checking first. Kicks and fires. This one's on a line just past the shortstop Drew Swift and into left field. So the Pilots now will have the winning run at the plate with nobody out here in the bottom of the 9th inning. And the fans getting a bit rowdy here at Mulcahy. The Pilots fans, that is, as they know they have a great opportunity at hand. As that brings up Eli Rollinson, and we'll see a quick break in the action as pitching coach Jeff Erlab will make a visit. With this break, we'd like to thank the official sponsor of the Matsu Miners Internet broadcast, Napa Auto Parts of Alaska, and owner Jim Ruda. Stop into any of your locally owned and operated Napa Auto Parts of Alaska and enter into a Matsu Miners jersey giveaway. So with this break, head coach, pitching coach Jeff Erlab talking with Bryce Tassin. And now with the winning run on at home, this is finally the first time since the 1st inning that the Pilots are threatening with runs, Connor.
Yeah, it is. The Miners kind of spread across their runs. 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. But all of their 2 runs just coming in the bottom of the 1st.
So Rollinson came in to pinch hit back in the 6th inning, where he struck out. He faced Ian Churchill. As Tassin delivers a strike. First pitch strike to Rollinson.
Now, with nobody out, I'm almost half expecting Rollinson to lay down a bunt here. Move the runners over and put the Miners in a precarious situation.
So nobody on hold at first. Van Blake playing near the bag at second. Swift in his normal position at short, and Bozzetti playing a few steps back at third. Outfield is pretty much normal depth except for Kona Quiggle, where he's playing a few steps back. So Tassin coming set, checks second. Now his pitch at the plate gets Rollinson looking fooled greatly as he swung through a breaking ball. And now Tassin once again ahead in the count 0-2. He looks for that strikeout pitch. The Miners looking to improve their lead now into the season series 3-2. So go ahead in the season series, I should say, against the Pilots. In their first game since June 10th against the Pilots. So the 0-2 pitch nails that inside corner for strike number 3 and out number 1 of this bottom of the 9th inning. And so now the double play ball is, in fact, that would end the game if the Miners could get it.
And it looks like another pinch hitter. Going to be a lefty on righty matchup. Emilio Nogales.
Nogales, so far in the season, he's 3 of 11. Has an RBI and has come around to score once. Did play in the Pilots' last game where he went 1 for 5, had 3 strikeouts. So looking to avenge that here. He is a lefty, so righty on lefty matchup. He chops one over that first base line, but it rolls foul before first baseman Henson can grab it. And Tassin will move ahead in the count 0-1. And that's what Tassin's looking for. He's looking for a ground ball to end this ball game. And the Miners can head back to Palmer with a win. However, like we said, they will come back tomorrow night to face the Pilots, but they like to be leading the series 1-0. So Tassin toes the rubber once again, looks into Avitia. Scores 4-2. Miners on top here in the bottom of the 9th inning, but the Pilots have runners on first and second with only 1 out. Tassin kicks and fires. Fastball nails the outer edge for strike 1. So the Miners second in the ABL right now. They're behind the Oilers, and the Pilots are 4th. Pilots losing 4 in a row before winning against the Bucks a few nights ago. Whereas the Miners lost to the Bucks as Nogales fouls it back. And Tassin, once again, third straight batter, ahead in the count, 0-2. We'll look to end this at-bat. He comes set, glances over at second, is 0-2. Gets Avitia coming out of the crouch to grab that one. Counts at 1 ball, 2 strikes. Only 1 out. The Miners have given up the least amount of hits in the ABL with only 86, so that totals up to 93 currently. And second least amount of runs with a team ERA of 3.04, which stands for third. It's the third lowest ERA as Tassin misses in the dirt, 2-2. So really, the Miners don't really stand out on the charts for a lot of things. But they are really in the middle of the pack of everything, and then they're sitting second in the standings. So Tassin's 2-2. Hits that lower edge. He gets back-to-back Pilots to strike out looking.
That is exactly what Bryce Tassin needed to do. After allowing the first 2 runners to reach on base, to come back with back-to-back strikeouts. Not only just strikeouts, he got them looking. So Bryce Tassin getting his groove, finding some domination on the mound, and needs to get this last out.
So trailing 4-2 with the tying run at first and the third run at second. The Pilots' last chance will be Jordan Arruda as they're down to their final out here in the 9th inning. Arruda would be the man to do it. He's leading the ABL and average. He is 2 for 4 today. So he is the man they want to have the hold of the bat currently in this situation. Nevertheless, Tassin has other ideas. He's from the stretch. His pitch gets Arruda to swing through. He's ahead in the count 0-1. Arruda with 4 RBIs on the season has come around to score 17 times. So really not dishing out the runs batted in, but normally is the man getting on base. As the 0-1 pitch fools Arruda once again. He's down to his final strike. As his Pilots trail the Miners 4-2. Bryce Tassin looking to end things, put the Miners back in the win column and above 500 before they face the Pilots again tomorrow night. So Tassin comes set, long look in, glances at second. The 0-2 pitch swung on and missed from Jordan Arruda. And the Miners win 4-2 against the Pilots here in Anchorage. Great effort from the Miners tonight to overtake the Pilots. Some great offense all game long for the Miners and some excellent relief pitching as All relief pitchers coming in did not give up a single run. So the Miners on top of the Pilots 4-2 tonight. The Miners with 10 hits, Pilots with 7. No errors from either squad, as Ian Churchill will be your winning pitcher on record. And Cody Kerfman will take the loss, and for the save will be Bryce Tassin. So, Connor Mills, any final thoughts tonight, as we will not have a post-game show because we are on the road?
Well, what a performance from Tassin at the end. You know, he really had to settle down, buckle down, and get these last 3 outs. And to get him by strikeouts was perfect for him and almost solidifies his role as a closer on the team. And what a performance from Kona Quiggle. Quiggle starting off the game, getting that triple, coming around to score, and then at the end, having an RBI single, extending the lead. Quiggle has been invaluable to the Miners so far this season. It's been fun to watch him play.
It really has, and it was nice to see the bats come out for the Miners. They had a long talk after the loss against the Bucks the other night, had mandatory batting practice yesterday, and it really paid off today with those 10 hits, dropping 4 runs, and they came right out of the gate hitting, which was great. So, for one final time, this is Brad Walker, and for Connor Mills, the Miners win tonight in Anchorage against the Pilots 4-2. They will improve to 8-7, and the Pilots will drop to 5-8. So, one final time now, Miners get the win tonight in Anchorage against the Pilots 4-2. As always, it's been a pleasure.